Welcome in on another episode in the KIPS podcast. My name is Tyler Valencia. I'm the president of KIPS and Time to Train Fitness. I have an episode here that is a little bit of a throwback in terms of how it inspired me, but also recalling some things that I still think are relevant to personal trainers or even group fitness instructors in some essence, that I'm going to talk about 5 things that personal trainers need to know before their first day. Now, this episode, I did a version of it, a blog version of it years ago. I think it was in 2017, and I was looking for some ideas, looking through content, looking through Facebook groups, see what people are chatting about. And I came across this article on the KIPS blog, and I was like, this is something that once I scrolled through, I was like, a lot of this is still relevant, but let me update a little bit and talk about it in a blog post to kind of get things going. But I will also link that article in this episode, the details for it, or if you're checking it out on the KIPS blog, I'll link and I'll put a banner link in there so that you could read that if you'd like to, and hopefully comment for other Fit Pros instructors, entry-level instructors that can get some insight into what that first day is like. First day, what do I mean by that? Your first day of being an instructor, you're going in, you've already been hired, and your eyes are wide open and you're thinking, oh man, I'm going to tackle this. I want to give 5 tips that hopefully bring some light into what the industry's like, and also get that ball rolling in terms of the mindset of being a personal trainer on your first day. Before we get to it, I want to shout out 2 things. First thing is our course, Social Media for Fitness Professionals. If you're struggling to create content or even create certain platforms, if you don't even know how to create an Instagram account, a YouTube account, or a Facebook page, Facebook group, Social Media for Fitness Professionals is the course to check out. It's already approved for CEUs with NASM, ISSA, with AFA, and with NESTA. So you can get your CEUs, check that box off to get recertified, but also learn some skills in order to help you stay in the industry. Second thing, make sure you subscribe to the KIPS YouTube channel. A lot of free content is over there, or even if you want to start listening to the KIPS podcast on that platform, you can listen to it there. Getting to the first one. Now, the first one, I changed up the title of it for this, and I'm going to hopefully approach it in a slightly different way than what's in the blog post. And that is interpersonal skills are king or queen. Now, don't get me wrong. I think education is important. Obviously, KIPS is a fitness education company, and what we provide in terms of evidence-based education and education that hopefully is relevant to what the industry is like now. Don't get me wrong. Very important. But as you start to see interpersonal skills, being able to create connections, whether you are a personal trainer or a group exercise instructor, those become very valuable. Now, I've worked in gyms with instructors that are way more knowledgeable than me in terms of what is on their resume or what credentials they have. Super knowledgeable, but they struggled. Now, the story I'm going to tell here, obviously I'm not going to tell the name of the individual, but I remember when I first started in the industry. So I was 19 years old, and I'm talking about starting the industry as a personal trainer. I was in a class. So the gym I worked at, they had classes of personal trainers, new hires, that they would go through some trainings. And after the 90 days, if you didn't sell a certain amount, I believe it was 6,000 at the time, that you had to, or that you wouldn't be offered a final position. So in my hiring class, there was an individual that already had, he was a Ph.D., had a Ph.D. in biomechanics, and super knowledgeable, super smart, but it was those interpersonal skills where he actually struggled. And from what I recall, he didn't make the cutoff until, it came down to literally the wire for him in order to sell enough personal training to get hired on board. And so I bring this story up because you could be the smartest individual, you could have all the credentials, but if you can't make connections with clients or in classes, it's going to become very hard. So the tip that I have for you on top of this is to listen, and also learn about things that your clients like to do. And that was actually a tip that was given to me very early on. One of the top trainers, or one of the more experienced trainers when I first started off, they had taken me around a the facility, and they basically pointed out some things, some insights, and also they told me to read and look into things that at the time she said, look into what females are into, what kind of magazines are they into, and learn about those types of things for conversation's sake. Most individuals that you train that are of the opposite sex, they will probably not share the same types of hobbies, and you're not going to come across every client that likes what you're into. And so learning about those things can help keep that conversation going between sets. Now, I'm going to come back to the whole education piece because, like I mentioned, KIPS is an education company. Fitness education, I think it's great and very important. And of course, you want those things. But I see a lot of times that Fit Pros will have all these initials after the name, and they make sure they got to have in their bio. They got to make sure that they showcase all this stuff, but nobody knows. At a gym, nobody will know what ACSM, what KIPS, what NCCPT, what NASM, ICA, what those things even mean. I'm sure they wouldn't even know what a CPT means. And so emphasizing those and talking about your credentials, those are probably not things to lead with in a session, especially a first session. Talking about them, what are their values, what are things that they want to accomplish, and building that relationship and showcasing how you can help them get there. That should be more the emphasis. In my opinion, education is what helps you get started, helps you build great programs, and you want all those things. But trying to talk about, I have this certification in this and it'll make me so much, make me the right person for you, that'll probably bore them. They'll probably roll their eyes. Listening to them in terms of what their goals, and then showcasing exercises and building emphasis in terms of where you can get them. Those are things that will help you close the session and be able to close the sale at the end of the day. So that is tip number 1 there. Tip number 2. Your schedule is not 9 to 5. That is one that you will quickly learn and you will quickly become accustomed to, in terms of you're not going to be clocking at 9 and going out at 5. Think about it. Who is at the gym during those times? If you want to be at the gym during those times, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some building, and it's going to take a lot of working in terms of what probably different populations that you thought, and a lot of a schedule as a personal trainer is being available when your clients are, before and after work for them. Because most likely, if they are able to come in the middle of the day, either they're retired or they're at a stay-home professional, whatever that might be. And so keep that in mind, that you're not going to be clocking in at 9, leaving at 5. You are going to be building your schedule around when they're available. Now, also that includes your floor shifts. If you don't know what a floor shift is at the moment, that is typically time that you're going around cleaning the gym, but also trying to connect with members and trying to hopefully pick them up off the floor. It's a hard thing to do, but that's also FaceTime. FaceTime is something that you'll see becomes very important as you get more experience and work within a facility. The more times people see you, the more that they recognize you are somebody that's associated with the facility. Those are all positive things. So think about that. One of the other items that I threw onto this one for this episode, and what's probably more relevant to this day and age of being in the fitness industry, is also, what other revenue streams are you creating that aren't training based? And a lot of Fit Pros that I know that are still in the industry after a year, 2 years, they are training at a variety of locations, but they're also doing a variety of things within the industry. And some of those might tag, they might be a combo in terms of maybe they are working in a facility as a gym, as a personal trainer, and then they're maybe teaching group exercise at that facility, or they're teaching group exercise in another location, or train people at different locations, or maybe they're doing stuff online. They're doing online training to supplement, but also be able to create extra time that your clients are thinking about you, working with you outside the gym. So think about those items before you start. And even if you're listening to this, maybe you're thinking about being a personal trainer and you're thinking, well, this isn't true, or this can't be true. It is. And so that might be an eye-opening one right off the bat there. Number 3 here, you start by giving away a lot of free sessions and time. And this is one that might have evolved more. And I'm going to pull from my experiences of working in a handful of facilities, but you do a lot of free sessions, complimentary sessions. And I say free with this one, and maybe that is time being in the gym, FaceTime, like I talked about in the previous one. But this might be complimentary sessions for the client. So they are at a discounted rate for you. If you are working in a gym and they have a floor rate, most likely you are doing your complimentary sessions at your floor rate. So it's a much more discounted rate because you're not going to be charging the maximum or being able to charge a session to this client. And so they are probably getting it at, they're thinking, oh, I'm getting a free one. And you are doing it at a much discounted rate. And you do a lot of that because a lot of it is repetitions. You might be thinking, oh, this is really bad for me. I'm not making as much as I can. But on the perspective as a newcomer, somebody that doesn't have experience, this is very valuable. I can say that times that I've gone back to in the past when I've changed facilities, or maybe I took some time off from training people, there's repetition. There's language that you utilize, at how you explain an exercise, how you do a closing in order to pitch someone your sessions. That all gets better with reps, gets better with time. And so getting these complimentary sessions in can really help you build that rep, build a language that you are comfortable with using. If you go through any type of PT school and they teach you how to do these things and you are looking and you're like, I would never say that. I think morphing it or changing it into a language that is more appropriate to what you say, your style, those are all things that can help you and come with experience. Now, with the other side of it, with doing free sessions, giving away a lot of free time. I talked about in the previous one, the FaceTime aspects. I can't tell you how many times that I had somebody come up to me in a gym. They knew that I was an instructor there, and they came up to me and would just, hey, I know that you work here, and I've been struggling with X, Y, and Z. It looks like you know what you're doing. Those are all things that I would do in terms of, I would be working out myself and somebody just comes up to me. People start to associate, they're watching you, they're looking at what you're doing. And it's very important to realize that you're always on. Somebody's always watching you, and make sure you keep it professional and make sure that you're doing things that a prospective client that will be attractive to them. And that can just be working out yourself, working out, training yourself, showcasing that you know proper technique. Those are all things that are attractive to potential clients that maybe don't want to go through the system. They don't want to go through the going to the front desk or being pitched by somebody on the sales team. Maybe they just want to talk to somebody, and then you can build it from there. So that is number 3. You start by giving away a lot of free sessions. I briefly talked about number 4 in the previous one. Finding your selling and training style takes repetition. With this one, I think it's really important to realize that your style can be adapted from any way that you train. Now, I've worked on different personal training teams, and I say team, but the staff where it's 40 trainers, which is a lot. It sounds like a lot. Only, I would say, a third to maybe just slightly above that was full-time. A lot of it's part-time trainers, but the full-time trainers, they were all different in terms of how they sold and how they approached the sale. Not all of them are the hard sale people that, okay, you're going to go purchase this package right now. Not everybody's like that. You could be the trainer that showcases your training style, is very polite about it, that just says, here's the rates, here's what tier I'm a part of. If you would be interested in working with me, here is how you could do that. You could be that instructor. Are you going to be somebody that struggles? No, any way can work. I think that we sometimes get locked in on, I have to be the hard sell. I have to sell. And these all take time to find your way, find how you are going to approach it. And I think the bigger key to this, and I talked about in the previous one, is in that complimentary session, being able to get those repetitions. And if you are doing this on your own, if you're doing it outside of a facility, I think it becomes a little bit easier, because oftentimes if you are promoting yourself and you're getting people to meet you at a facility, they're most likely looking for a trainer to work with already. Hard selling and working in a gym where you're getting these complimentary sessions, a lot of them are not looking to purchase, and it's just part of the process of signing up for a gym. And some of those really good leads, they are few, either it's maybe just a handful of them each month. But with the ones that you get, take them as an opportunity to work that style, work that language, so that when it does come, when you get somebody that, okay, yeah, I've been wanting to work with a trainer, this sounds great. You've already got that repetition and it's not new to you. You know what you need to say, you know what you need to do, and you don't feel uncomfortable throughout it. If you're in the market for adjustable dumbbells or at-home workout equipment, check out Core Home Fitness at the link in the description. From adjustable dumbbells, multi-function benches, and all-in-one options, they got it all. I personally have their adjustable dumbbells and the glute drive that also works as a bench, and would recommend them to anyone building their home gym or looking for easy adjustable options. The dumbbells, they easily adjust from 5 pounds to 50 pounds just by turning the handle and lock in for your safety. Grab yourself a pair and see for yourself how easy they can fit into your fitness program. If you've been a fan of this podcast, you know that before end of each episode, you're going to hear a promotion for the Naboso Duo insoles. I've been using them for probably a year and a half, and I personally think they're game changers. I think everybody should get them, try them out, see what you think. And personally, I've talked about how I used to have foot pain just from sitting at a desk and then trying to be active, trying to go work out, and not really being able to fully maximize it. So I always try to throw it out there for individuals to just try them out, see what you think, utilize them in your day-to-day, and hopefully improve your overall activity level. That's the key right there, activity level. So check them out. There's a link in the description for the Naboso insoles. They have a variety of them to check out, different accessories. Check them all out. See what you think, and hopefully come back and let us know that they've really helped out with your activity level. Let's get back to the episode. Okay, last one here, number 5, and that's a certification gets you in the door. This one is more geared towards the individuals that are looking to enter the industry, and they're looking at what my options are. And I bring this one up, and I'm changing it what I'd originally written from in 2017, because times change and also prices change, things along that line. And I think that from my experience and what I've told individuals out there that maybe ask me about different fitness certifications out there, I always say to ask the facility what they require, because you don't want to break the bank right off the bat. That's my opinion, and it might be one that's divisive, but I say that having worked at 2 of the top 10 fitness certification companies. I've worked for 2 that I've also done accreditation for them. I know quite a bit about accreditation, having done the applications for one of those organizations, and coming from it in terms of being able to purchase one that is just required from the gym. So meeting the requirements that I talked about earlier, how clients, they don't know what those initials after your name mean. So thinking that you're purchasing one of the most expensive ones because it's really just because that you've been told that this is the best one, and the clients are in a notice. No, they do not know what those initials after your name mean. Purchasing one that doesn't break the bank helps you hopefully stay in the industry longer, because you're not going into debt more. You have more money to spend on potentially another certification, more continuing education. Those are things that start to really add up after you get in the industry. And getting in the door helps you get that experience, get those repetition. Certifications, personal trainer certifications, they're entry-level certification. It's what helps you get hired. So focus on what are the required elements and what gets me in the door so I can practice my craft, practice that experience, all the things I talked about with the interpersonal skills, getting repetitions. And most likely they're supposed to be developed in terms of the same concepts, the same requirements for an entry-level certification. So find what's required, what's the cheapest to help you get started, and then go after more advanced certifications once you have that ability, those funds to do that, because things add up. These things can be very costly. And I was doing competitor analysis recently and looking at what some of these other certification companies are charging, $6,000, $8,000 for certifications. Oh my, that is a lot of money these days. And if you're only making between $20 to hopefully $40 something at a facility, that is a lot of hours to rack up before you can purchase those things without having to use any credits. So keep that in mind. A certification gets you in the door. Building your experience after, getting those repetitions, those can be very important, working on your interpersonal skills, and then go after more advanced certifications, which help you build that base, make better programs, assess your clients better, and potentially open up your client base to different types of populations. So this has been it in this episode of the KIPS podcast. Rather different because I took an old concept, an old blog post, and reshaped it to today, changed some of these things. Like I mentioned, I'm going to link the original one that's been a little bit updated in terms of the typos that were in it, and hopefully make it a little more relevant. But that will be in the description or on the KIPS blog. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope to catch you in the next one.